I appreciate you being here, Ari. Go ahead and introduce yourself. This is Burn the Ship, the podcast where we kind of, get into business, we get into the why, what you're doing and see if there's any way to kind of connect our platform and our network with, what you've got going on. It's something we're excited about. So go ahead and give us the introduction. I'm excited to be able to talk to you today.
My name is Ari Waldman. I'm a person who stutters. I've been stuttering all my life. Live in Brooklyn, New York, in Midwood. I'm Jewish. I belong to a Chabad synagogue right down the block from me. I was born April 17th, 1977. I'm married, but no children. Married since June 11, 2012. I work in the commercial real estate space for Lee & Associates, New York. The office is at 845 3rd Avenue, 4th floor. Peter Browse and Jim Wacht are the owners of that office. It's a national firm. It's actually international. We have offices throughout the country and a couple of offices in Canada. I've been licensed since the summer of 2004. I only do commercial. Commercial meaning office leasing, office condos and co-ops. Retail, industrial, meaning warehouse, manufacturing, logistics, all these types of real estate. I do both on the rental and sale side. I also do deals out of New York City and out of state through the help of our other Lee & Associates offices, because I'm not licensed in every state, just in New York State. We work in partnership, although each office is individually owned. In terms of my stuttering, let's move on to the stuttering platform. A year ago today, I couldn't have this conversation. I learned that I deserve the same things that everybody else deserves. I learned that stuttering could be an advantage for me. And it is, because every day I set goals for myself. And because of this, I'm getting better in every way. The brand all started with somebody named Nick Noriega from California coming to me and saying, do you want to practice over Zoom? I said, sure. After a while, he didn't have time for this, and I continued. It was small, and we weren't getting a lot of membership. And then I connected with somebody from the UK, person who stutters, also learning a lot about mental health and teaching and coaching people in mental health. He's a professor in economics in the UK, not far from London. And we started to create some more rules, and he helped people find their way in the self-help space in terms of acceptance. We formed a Facebook group, Pathway Out of Stuttering. We formed a WhatsApp group, Pathway Out of Stuttering. And we added some more structure and rules. With that, we got more people coming to the meetings. About a month ago, somebody came to me, also from the UK. We have people who stutter coming from all over the world to this group. I want to practice more. And during this process, as I was starting to get more comfortable with my stuttering and who I was as a person, I rejoined Toastmasters. And I thought, why don't I create a Toastmasters for adults who stutter? And why don't I use this practice time by introducing the Toastmasters to people who stutter, and that will help them be more comfortable in their own skin and communicate. And that's what I did. And I noticed people growing by leaps and bounds. While I was doing this, I was also doing business networking with the RCS Professional Roundtable, which is headed up by Esther Deutsch. And she is amazing, one of the best networkers, one of the best human beings on the planet. And she forms this virtual roundtable. People get up virtually, they go around the room. Who are you? What do you do? What are you looking for? Who are you looking to meet? And I got a lot out of this. I learned how to network better. And I thought to myself, why don't I introduce some stutterers to this space and to my Toastmasters group, and also to some of my professional colleagues and my contacts I'm meeting from this group. And I took it a step further. And I said to myself, why don't I bridge the people in my stuttering practice group and the stuttering community at large with business networking? So as of last Sunday, I launched the first ever business networking group for adults who stutter. And as of last week, I got my speech pathologist, Uri Schneider and Phil Schneider, to agree to consult with whoever needs consulting in the platform Pathway to Stuttering. Now we have a stuttering practice group, a business networking group, who needs guidance to manage their stuttering. As of this Sunday, we're making the stuttering practice group 2 hours because I want everybody to come together as a community to turn this platform from a semi-professional group into a professional group. The next on the docket, which I'm not ready for yet, probably in another week or two, I'm going to be launching phase 4 of this platform, and that's a religious component. Everybody's got different religions, and I'm probably going to run the Jewish group, but somebody's going to run the Christian group, and there's going to be subgroups. So when people go into the religious settings, they're going to feel comfortable in their religion. They'll be able to speak their mind, and they'll be able to connect with whoever or whatever they believe in is right to connect with, or who. And of course, we're going to have a health component. Ultimately, I want to form a website. I want to go on radio, TV. I want to do a documentary. I want to do an independent film, and then ultimately a full-length feature. And I want to use everybody's talents, bring them together to build something much stronger. Not to mention, I want to bring them more and more into my life and the people I know's life more and more. This is a global brand, and I want to build this not times 1, not times 2, but times 10 by the end of the year. So people who I come in contact with will feel so empowered that they'll learn not only that they're amazing, but to help other people know that they're amazing, they're talented, and to help other people know that they're really talented. To boost them up in every way possible, because my philosophy is, if I rise, so should everybody else around me. That is in a nutshell of what I'm working on now.
Wow. I appreciate the introduction. I want to walk kind of through some of that stuff chronologically. First of all, I agree with you about Esther. Esther's amazing. She was actually the catalyst for connecting you and I. But tell us, how long have you been in that commercial real estate space, and what are you looking for there? I want to get some background of what that was and how, as we get into what the organization that you've built around adults who stutter, I want to understand kind of more of that impact.
Commercial real estate, I started interning at the end of 2003 for Millennium Realty Group. I got licensed in 2004. For the first 10 years of my career, I focused exclusively on office leasing and showroom leasing and studio space and space for fashion companies, non-retail. Then I started to get into the retail space, ultimately a little bit. And then maybe over the past 10 years, I started to enter the commercial sales arena. I did a sale to an immigration attorney for an office co-op at 246 West 38th. And I also sold a warehouse in Middle Village in Queens to a fabric company. And I'm working on a land deal, which it's going to be developed into outdoor storage space in Florida. And I'm also working with a fitness rehab use for athletes in White Plains and Long Island. And what I prefer to work on is office, showroom, anything above the ground floor. But I'm capable through my platform working at Lee & Associates to work on any type of commercial transaction, whether it be leasing and sales. We also have a property management division, which has just been expanded because the owners, Peter Browse and Jim Wacht, just brought in another company to expand our property management division. And we have a very solid project management division, which oversees construction projects.
Okay. And describe to me, how long have you been networking? How long has networking been a significant way for you to get business?
I just started this maybe 6 to 8 months ago. That's when I was connected. No, maybe shorter. I only think I know Esther maybe 6 months. I met her over LinkedIn, and it's an amazing ride because the people, she and most of the people in the group are amazing. They taught me how to network. They taught me about the value of connecting with people, giving people time, no matter how busy I am, because it's what life is about. Life is about, in my opinion, to lift others up, because then I get lifted up.
What was the original inspiration to, and how did you meet Esther? How did you kind of get inspired into, kind of converting your business over into more value and relationship driven business?
I do a combination, both still reach out to customers, but I liked where she was going with it, and I melded things together with my stuttering journey, which I started about a year ago. I'm up to day 216 of my stuttering journey. I started this probably early April, and back then I couldn't get on the Zoom like this. I couldn't get on a call with you. I wouldn't have dreamed of doing anything like this. Zoom was very challenging, even for my wife, even when I was practicing with my speech pathologist. That was challenging. As I kept going, I started to work on more things. My speech therapy team and my stuttering comrades, and through some religious work that I learned from my rabbi and the people in my religious and Jewish community, I melded everything together, and I created an approach to build every area of my life. I developed a philosophy that I grow when I help other people grow. Because when they get stronger, I get stronger. When they're weak, I'm weak. It's kind of the philosophy that I learned in Judaism. We all come from the same place. And when somebody doesn't have food on his table, it's like I don't have food on my table. We all have a piece of God in us. We all come from the same place. And this is just God's work that I'm doing down here on this world.
Sure.
In this world.
Describe to me how, with that adopted philosophy over this last 6 to 8 months, how has COVID impacted that? Because I know there, especially in your geographical region, there have been a lot of challenges for, face-to-face communication and creating relationships in that way. How have you been able to kind of overcome those obstacles and continue to bring value to your new relationships?
I'm doing most of my conversing over Zoom, phone, FaceTime, WhatsApp. Over the past month or two, a little more in person. Somebody got married in my synagogue. I gave a toast, which is something I could never do a year ago. I did a preview last week. I was sitting next to my partner, colleague from work, and I was talking to owners with him sitting there. He said, call this person. And he jumped in. High pressure. I'm learning to talk and communicate in every single situation. I'm training myself to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Every situation is a challenge, but I'm learning that as long as I keep moving forward and staying in the moment and keeping the distractions outside, I'm gold. I notice that when I tense up, I hold my breath I stop breathing as much. The breathing gets more shallow. I do the meditative breathing. I tell myself, Ari, keep breathing, eye contact, let my stuttering out, put the brakes on, and then start to focus on the listener, who I am, what I'm saying. It gives me more time to speak, and that helps me to connect better.
Sure.
To become more effective communicator. So in essence, I'm learning how to connect even better over this COVID experience.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And can you describe to me as well how is the scene out there? I'm not very familiar with, kind of how things are going, in the business world and in the regular world, kind of in that New York, New Jersey area. How are things up there? I assume that, especially with some of the connections that I've been introduced to by Esther, I appreciate the connections that you made for me yourself as well. It seems that with the, things still being kind of closed off there, that it's inspired a real sense of networking responsibility in the area. A lot of people are really kind of putting that responsibility on their back to continue to grow their network. So is that kind of, this philosophy, these feelings that have been inspired in you in your business over these, last calendar year, do you think that is something that is, is something that's been widely adopted in your state as well, and some of the businesses especially that are in your network because of the circumstances?
Some people are willing to do this. I shouldn't say that a lot of people are willing to do this over COVID, not everybody. And you talk about New York and New Jersey. Since I'm in the real estate space, you and some of the listeners probably want to hear about the state of the market to put everything into perspective.
Sure. Absolutely.
There is a little bit more indoor seating. I believe it's 50% indoor seating in the restaurants because restaurants were being put out of business. There's some more retailers, dry uses, taking retail space. People still are feeling nervous about being next to people. I had a preview last week, actually this past week on Tuesday. The agent for a building up in Westchester told me, stay back. He was wearing a mask. He was willing to do the preview, but I maintain a safe distance from him. I personally do not feel comfortable yet to go into my office. I do not feel comfortable to go on the train, but there are more and more people going on the train and going into offices. And contrary to popular belief, people are still getting COVID. There is somebody in my office and his whole family, I can't mention the name, who recently got COVID, and somebody else in one of the divisions in my office got COVID about 2 weeks ago. It's still happening. I believe in the COVID vaccine. I plan to get it. In terms of the office market is up in the air. It depends on the company. I hear a lot of law firms are moving forward with the advent of the vaccine to take office space. A lot of companies are mixing it up. Some are taking advantage of the depressed market, although it's a little less depressed now because some owners are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and they're capitalizing. So owners are starting to see that space is starting to fill up a little more, and you can still get a steal of a deal, but not as good of a deal as you could have gotten about 6 months ago, where people were still dying a little more drastically, even though we're still on a wave. In terms of sales, I'm seeing more opportunities for people looking for property for sale in the commercial space. I'm not talking about residential, I'm talking about commercial only in Manhattan. Owners who never would have thought of selling a year ago are now not only thinking about it, but are actually acting on it. Even if they're not putting their building on the market, and even if they weren't thinking about it before you asked, I'd say there are opportunities in 10% of the commercial buildings in Manhattan, whether they thought about it or if it was presented to them, would consider selling. I have a requirement of an owner user who's looking to purchase a building in Manhattan. And I found owners, based on certain conditions, willing to sell, whether they're actively thinking about it or whether a question for me triggered that. And I'm finding the same thing with office condos and co-ops and retail condos and co-ops. That being said, people are kidding themselves if they think in the commercial arena that they're going to get a steal of a deal now. With most landlords, it's not an opportunity for them to sell their buildings or their properties with a major loss. But it is an opportunity for investors and users to capitalize on properties which were untouchable a year ago to get it now. Moving on to manufacturing. Manufacturing space is the hottest market, not only in New York, but throughout the country. Because of the expense of New York, people are looking at areas like New Jersey, and there's just not the inventory in New Jersey as there is in places like Pennsylvania, Virginia, even further south north in South Carolina, Texas, Arizona, different parts of California, Denver, Colorado, Boise, Idaho, moving north, Toronto, Vancouver, we have offices there. People who are looking for warehouse space should think seriously about going outside of the Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens area, because you're going to get, even if you go to the Bronx, you're going to get a lot more value. And there's still opportunity there. Whereas there's some opportunity in Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan, but the prices are just much higher. And also, you get a lot more value. There's much less land to work with, and the price per square foot is higher overall. This is what I'm finding.
Okay, that makes sense. And I want to discuss more about the stuttering, the platform that you're creating as well. Tell me, I'm curious, because you said that one of the phases that you were looking to interact is to continue to help other adults that stutter continue to practice and improve their speech. What are some of the ways that you were able to do that over the last years because obviously you speak very well now. What are some of the ways that you were able to improve their speech, and what are some of the ways that you're going to kind of help others take that leap as well?
Consistency. Everybody's got a different journey, and this is a multi-pronged approach. People tell me what they want to work on. We're not working on speech techniques. We're not working on stuttering. We're working on ways people can get out of their shell, talk more, become better communicators, better networkers, more connected with God, healthier individuals. This could help me because I've taken a downturn with this over COVID. And we're going to look at other avenues. We have a very useful resource. My speech pathologist, Phil Schneider Speech. Uri Schneider has got a all-encompassing approach called Transcending Stuttering, which he launched over COVID for people who stutter. And it's very affordable. And I got a lot out of that approach. And they're very client-centered. And client-centered means that the speech therapist looks to the client to set their journey. They're just the guide. As opposed to a therapist-centered approach, which is found in the mental health speech pathology field or in other helping professions, where the therapist or the health professional sets the tone for the treatment.
Okay.
So those are two of the methodologies.
Well, it seems like consistency has been a key to success, both not only in your journey with stuttering, but as well as inside your business. What other avenues are you going to take besides, what other exercises are there to continue to encourage people to break out of their shell, or advice you would give to someone that is struggling with that may be listening?
I have no advice because what I learned is I need to talk in terms of the I and get people to talk in terms of the I and to vocalize what are they looking to achieve a goal, to tell me what their goals are, to help them empower themselves, and to write a plan. If I have advice, it would be every day to write a schedule of things they want to accomplish. Look to modify their goals to make them quantifiable and achievable. to track the goals, to record themselves speaking. I found that when I recorded myself visually and auditorily and go into these group forums and go outside of my comfort zone, it was helpful and still is helpful making progress. I learn stuff about myself every day. I'm not cured. And I'm by no means perfect in business, and certainly not perfect in religion or health, even less in health. So I have a lot to work on, but I also learned that I can't beat myself up. I'm only human. God made me to be human, and I'm learning to be imperfect. And that's okay.
Yes,
And I'm celebrating that.
Absolutely. I celebrate it with you, sir. I wanted to ask as well, is some of the thought process here is behind kind of training your brain to be able to replicate a certain feeling or solution, or you're creating those pathways via neurons that this is how we work through this problem when you're developing those techniques. Is that something that you kind of point out to people, is that you have to train your brain for success in every avenue, your business, your personal life, with whatever that you may be dealing with or looking to overcome? Because, not only consistency, but with that knowledge of the way that you're training and creating those replicable habits, that's really where we find the key to success lies, is that, continuing to make changes in the way that you train your mind, but also making sure that you develop those habits so that you continue to learn and develop moving forward.
I'm just trying to process what you're saying. In terms of managing my stuttering, it's very dynamic. I work on the fly and I clear out everything. And I learn to be flexible and to be ready for anything. It's like I'm being thrown into the ocean and the waters are shark infested. How do I not get eaten alive? It's not going to be pretty. I may get cut up sometimes. I may have tooth marks in my body. I may almost get killed, but almost doesn't count. It's either I get killed or I don't. When somebody plays in baseball and they hit a home run, either they hit the home run or the ball doesn't go over the wall and it's caught. There's no almost in life. Either you execute or you don't execute. And I'm learning how to execute and get the job done on the fly. There's no recipe. It's just setting goals for myself, achieving the goals, and doing this every day, except for Saturday. Because Saturday is my day for God, and I separate myself from things that I do during the rest of the week.
Sure. And tell us, I appreciate all the information. I think we've got a pretty good understanding of your platform, at least I do. What are some of the ways that we can help you continue to grow your platform and connections that we can make? I'm not sure if there are any other professional organizations that are tapping into the certain demographic that you're currently focused on working with, but are there any of those that we should keep a lookout for?
I would like to get onto radio with the people in my group, more podcasts, TV, in the movie business in terms of independent, documentaries, and a full-length feature. I would like to build a website. That's all going to cost money. So at some point, I'm going to need to tap into some funding sources. I'm jumping the gun. But these are all avenues. Ultimately, I'm not ready yet. This is something, I get these visions at night and I share them with people in my group and other people, and they tell me this is a great idea, you should do it. And I get these ideas from other people in the group. I mean, who am I? I run everything I do by other people, and if they give me encouragement, I just run with it. And I'm getting a lot of encouragement, so here I am. So those are the areas which I'm going to be looking for. It doesn't have to be immediate, but I'm going to be looking for in the future. And I'm going to bring some of this stuff into my work. I already am.
Well, I'm excited to know you and to be able to continue to network with you and build the relationship with you, Ari. I really am. This has been an exciting meeting for me, to be able to talk to you and understand more of the impact that you are creating in the people's lives that you're interacting with. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate your journey, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Tell us, just before we go, I'll be on the kind of lookout for anyone that can be of assistance to you, be an asset to you in the media space moving forward. But if there are any of those connections that you're looking for right now that maybe our listeners have connections to, or maybe we have someone in our network in that space. Is there a company, is there an organization, is there a certain demographic of person that we should be, looking to refer you to, as well as if our listeners or ourselves is looking to refer anyone to you and the resources that you have on hand, how do those people get in contact with you?
I've got three things to say. The first thing is for the business networking component, and I haven't even hit the religious component and the other components because we're still trying to tweak that. We're just in the second week, and
Sure.
This is so new for me. I just think of an idea. I run it by the people in the group. They get all excited. Let's do it. Here's what we should do. We should change. The business networking group is not only targeted for people who stutter now, but people who stuttered in the past. So even if they're not dealing with stuttering anymore, if they're a recovered stutterer, it's for them too. So anybody who stuttered at any point of their lives, this is an appropriate group. This part of the platform is an appropriate group for them, and they're more than welcome. But this part of the group, the business networking, where adults who stutter or stuttered in the past, they have to be 21 years old or older, and they can come from anywhere in the world. This platform is targeting adults who stutter from all over the world, both for the business networking group and for the practice group. This is an international, global group. That's why we have to do it early in the day. The one demographic have not been able to reach, and it was very difficult when I was dealing early on with people from Nepal, and they're amazing. There's a stuttering community in Nepal. Because of time zone issues, I would go on, and it would be 4 a.m, and they would be falling off their feet. 3:30 or 4 a.m, they wanted to jump on, but they just couldn't do it anymore. Is like Australia, Japan, China, Korea. That's because of where we are in the world. It might as well just be a different planet because their time zone is just so different. I got to figure out a way with my team, in my group, how to make it work for everybody. Right now, it works from the US all the way to India. In terms of, those are the people I'm looking for on the stuttering front. The non-stuttering front, the real estate front, I would really love to connect with people who are high up in the biotech world and people on the board of directors for hospitals, laboratories, scientists. I know about an off-market biotech lab-ready building, 400,000 square feet, could be expanded to 700,000 square feet. The developer is very close with somebody in my office. We have a good relationship. It's going to be ready for the hospital or the laboratory, the biotech company to move into. The developer is putting in $250 per square foot of work into it. It's going to be ready for move-in first quarter of 2023. If you know anybody in the biotech, hospital space, laboratory space, science space, who needs a large building, a complex, a center in New York City, that's the building to be in. And please have them contact me. Those are the people I'm looking for. I'm connected a lot with people who stutter. That could be a good connection too. But people who used to stutter and don't stutter anymore or are recovered, even if they were just stuttered for a year and they outgrew it, those could be people I would want to meet too.
Awesome. And how do people find you? How do they contact you?
The best way, because I don't know where people are calling from, it could be overseas. Email me and we'll set up a call.
Awesome. What's your email?
awaldman at lee-associates.com.
Awesome. Well, now people know where to find you. Again, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast here and telling us about yourself and your journey and the impact that you're looking to have. Obviously, any support, connections, anything that we can do to be of assistance to you in your journey, the MP Group is always, a friend to anything that you have brewing. We would love to be of assistance and be supportive to you and continue to help you grow your platform, because I think it comes from a really genuine and powerful place. So we absolutely will support you until you have reached your goals and continue to move in another direction. So I'm appreciative to be within your network, Ari. I continue to grow the relationship and expand each other's network. And just again, I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and for your support. I think you're an amazing person as well. And if there's anything you need from me, anybody I can connect you with, anything I could help with. I love uplifting other people. I would love to be fortunate enough to be able to help you and be part of your journey too. And in addition, I will send you all of my contact just in case people can't reach me at my email. I have another email address, a Yahoo email address. I got a phone number they can reach me at. I will send you all of my contact information by email.
Awesome, and we'll make sure that everybody has access to that when we edit the video. We'll make that readily available.
Perfect.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir.
Sure.